Hello everybody, my name is Jenna Kopp and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my senior thesis, and that is on the effects of positive reinforcement on raptors as educational ambassadors. So I actually work in this field. I train and work with raptors, so I'm really excited to share this with you guys and share my own experiences on the topic as well. So my senior thesis is ultimately, the objective of my study is to review current literature on raptor research and utilize the data from raptor training experiences to identify training methods and techniques and factors that ultimately are going to ensure a comfortable and successful educational raptor. So let's talk about what a raptor is, because I find a lot of people, I'm so sorry about that. I did not mean for a text message to pop up. I find that a lot of people do not actually know what a raptor is. So let's talk about what a raptor is. Raptors are also known as birds of prey. They are animals such as eagles, hawks, falcons, and owls. However, scientists have kind of struggled to define what a bird of prey is up until recently. So that is because there are a lot of animals that eat meat, so they couldn't just define a bird of prey based on, a bird that eats meat, because lots of animals eat meat. So they define birds of prey based on talons that can grab and kill prey and a hooked beak that can tear up flesh. So that is what a bird of prey is. So, why birds of prey? Why raptors? Why talk about raptors? Well, they are extremely important to the ecosystem. They help create that top-down pressure that regulates rodent populations. Owls are super important to that. They also help prevent the spread of disease. Vultures in particular have such strong stomach acid that they can kill any human disease out there. So all of that roadkill on the side of the road, they clean up the carcasses, they feed off of it, and they help get rid of a lot of that disease that can ultimately spread to us. And especially during these times, I definitely would appreciate that. So unfortunately though, even though raptors are so important to us and to the environment, over the decades, human impacts have drastically decreased their populations. Things like rodenticide have killed off so many owls, and rodent populations have gone up drastically. Diclofenac is an anti-inflammatory drug that has killed off vultures. The anti-inflammatory drug is given to the cattle, and then the cattle die off, and then the vultures eat them, and then the vultures die. So that has been a huge problem. Disease has gone up because of that. Yet, even though these guys are decreasing, we're doing very little to spread conservation and, make people aware, hey, this is not good, don't use rodenticide. Or hey, don't use lead, because hunters using lead is super dangerous to the birds as well, because they will feed off the carcasses that the hunters leave left out. And just this much lead can kill a full-grown bald eagle. So it's been very tragic. So basically what I'm getting at and leading up to is that because there is such a huge lack of research and promotion and research and conservation with raptors, we have had to rely on the role of educational ambassadors. So keeping in mind that raptors play such an important role in the environment, it is critical that we are to protect them. And that's where these educational ambassadors come in. These are raptors who cannot survive on their own in the wild, so they ultimately live under human care, I like to say. And they help educate the public on raptors and what you can do and spread conservation. That is the role. So if you've ever gone and seen like a bird of prey show or a bird show where somebody brings out the owl on their arm, that is what an educational ambassador is. They live under human care because they cannot survive in the wild, and they play a very important role in raising awareness and conservation. So, like I said, raptors under human care serve an important purpose as ambassadors for educating the public and proper training of these animals is critical to the success of these programs. So you can't just take a wild hawk that has come into captivity because he can no longer survive in the wild and place him on a glove and expect him to be a good educational ambassador. No, you have to have the proper training and resources to ensure that that bird is a successful educational ambassador. So the welfare of that bird is top priority. You want him to be stress-free in that environment entirely. So, however, while there are a variety of training methods that exist, it is important to identify which one is the best to utilize to ensure that the animal is safe, happy, and comfortable as an educational ambassador. So let's go over a quick review of raptor training methods. So there are lots out there, but it is most useful to narrow these topics down to two main methods. So Lori is a master falconer, and she defined one of those methods as the traditional method. So this has been used for literally centuries in falconry and is the older method, and that is basically based on force. Basically take the new bird and you force him to sit on your glove until he basically gives up and learns through forced helplessness that he has to sit there. So that is the older method, and basically they just sit there until they get exhausted. Now, the more modern method is the one that I'm going to be kind of selling today or promoting, is known as operant conditioning, and it is based off of choice. So it is things such as positive reinforcement, which is a part of operant conditioning and is defined as reinforcement for a behavior that you want. So let's say the bird is calm, you reward that instantly, or the bird goes in his crate on his own, you reward that, and they learn through rewards, oh, this is not so bad, and they do it entirely out of choice. It's totally voluntary. So obviously that is way more humane and better than force, and yeah, way better than force, and it ensures that the animal is stress-free. There is no stress in the situation. It is entirely voluntary. So most of the trusting relationships built with these birds are based off of positive reinforcement. So Steve Martin is an extremely well-known trainer in the bird world, and he discusses in one of his journals that positive reinforcement is ultimately the foundation of trust. So trust is one of the most important elements in training a raptor. It ensures that the bird knows he is safe in this environment, he knows there is no danger, and he can trust you in everything that you do. So there's very little stress in that situation, and it increases motivation for the bird to train. It increases the success in a bird being in an educational show. That bird wants to go out on stage and perform for the audience so that people can learn about him. He wants to be there. So in other words, positive reinforcement improves the animal's welfare significantly by empowering the animal with more control over his or her environment. And we've seen this in many cases around the world, way more than I can name, but one of them was a harpy eagle at the Dallas Zoo. These birds are very, very large and have very large talons, and she was not ready to be an educational ambassador yet, and she was kind of dangerous, so they had to kind of keep their distance from her, but through positive reinforcement, they were actually able to make her a fantastic educational ambassador, which is amazing that you can go from an animal who is pretty dangerous to a fantastic educational ambassador who is safe and happy in her environment. So trainers now focus all of their energy into first forming a positive and trusting relationship with their animal that basically empowers them with a voice, and they utilize positive interactions over negative ones. So if they see any sort of positive, choice that the animal could make, they absolutely use that. So, and they use the rewards of usually food or other things as well. So let's talk about my experience So I have had multiple opportunities to train a bird of prey, but I picked my first ever raptor training research project because it is very close to my heart and I learned the most from it. So I was an intern at the World Bird Sanctuary from June to August in 2019, and it was one of my focuses and official projects to successfully flight train a baby barn owl. So she was less than a year old and did not have any previous experience training before. So this is Sabrina. She was the owl I ultimately ended up training. And the main method I used with Sabrina during this project was positive reinforcement, which is not that surprising. And the end goal was for her to ultimately be able to fly glove to glove from, to people and to be an educational ambassador at the end. And also to train other behaviors like scale training and to have her be okay with me touching her feet so that we could apply equipment to her and have all of these things be voluntary. Sorry about that. So the training plan consisted of shaping the behavior from small hops to longer flights across the room. And like I said, this was all done through positive reinforcement. So I would give her a little food every time she would do the behavior that I wanted. So if she would do something as small as step to my glove, that's a reward. Want to make that a positive experience. I want her to feel comfortable and want to be on my glove rather than through force. So over the course of my project, I examined how the effects of positive reinforcement affected her overall performance and motivation. So the findings of my project per se is that positive reinforcement is great. It is how I built a relationship with her. When I first started working with her, she did not want to be near me. She did not want to step up onto my glove. But through the use of rewards and showing her, hey, I'm not a threat, I'm a friend, we built a trusting relationship. She wanted to be on my glove. So using force is not a good thing. I found that out during my project as well. We had to unfortunately catch her up for physical examinations for medical reasons. And even though I did not directly do this because I would damage my relationship with her, the vets did, and that alone affected my relationship indirectly. So even though it wasn't me, them using force with her still damaged my relationship with her a little bit because she had that association of somebody forced me to, be in their hands. Somebody started examining me when I didn't want to be examined. And that bled over a little bit into our training. But with positive reinforcement, I was able to undo that. So that is fantastic. And so, like I said, using force creates a distrust between the raptor and the trainer and heavily decreases the bird's motivation. So after her physical, she did not want to train. Her motivation was way down. She just kind of didn't want to do anything. So, and it took a couple weeks for her to get back to normal after being caught up. So effectively, that part, even though it wasn't directly a part of my project, really showed how force is very harmful. But with positive reinforcement, I was able to effectively flight train Sabrina, teach her to be comfortable with gestures, scale train her to be comfortable with touch, and this other small successes. So, like I said, using positive reinforcement allowed her to feel safe, gave her a reason to look forward to training, and make sure that she's healthy and lives a stress-free life, because we want these birds to be healthy and stress-free. That is top priority. And she's always given the choice not to train. If she didn't want to train, I didn't make her train. So, the conclusion. So, as more and more species disappear from our planet, unfortunately, the use of educational animals is becoming more and more necessary. If you have ever seen a child look at an owl or a bald eagle in person, they're absolutely amazed. People, when they see these animals in person up close, it motivates them all the more to want to go out and protect them. So helping to inspire adults and children of all ages to help protect this planet has never been more important as more and more species are declining. So caring for these educational ambassadors in captivity with the utmost respect and care they deserve is extremely important. These guys play such an important role on spreading conservation and educating others, and it is up to us to take care of them and make sure they live a stress-free life. So therefore, it is very important that we use the most positive technique we can to ensure that they are healthy, happy, and safe as an educational ambassador and successful. So that is my presentation. Hope you guys enjoyed and have a good day.